Alright, how's it going, guys? Thanks for joining me once again. So it's been a little while since my last video. That's because I was traveling yet again. Last week I went to Steelfest in Finland for the second year in a row, which was amazing. So if you're not familiar with that festival, it's just like a star-studded black metal festival, you know, with bands, a lot of bands from Finland, but also all over the world. So it was great to catch up with some familiar faces there and see a lot of amazing bands. If people are interested, I might do a full review of that festival. But anyway, for today, what I'm doing is actually a thread response. And this is a response to Matt from the Accusation network. His channel recently reached the milestone of 5,000 subscribers. So first of all, congratulations, Matt. I've been watching his channel for a while and I really like it because, as Dennis said, it's very professionally edited and produced, and not only that, but Matt's a very knowledgeable guy and very articulate. His videos flow very well, so I really enjoy watching them. It's always entertaining, and in addition to that, he's also a massive Kiss fan, so points there, just like me. You know, I like Kiss as well, so yeah. So what he's done is, to celebrate this milestone of 5,000 subscribers, he's put together a series of questions for us to answer, and these are quite interesting and different, so I thought I have to jump on this particular thread, so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to bring up my screen with the questions. So 6 questions to answer, and we'll just get straight into it. So the first question he's asked is, show me an album with a guest performer who really brings something great to the music he or she is on. Tell me what you dig about this appearance as well. So the album I've chosen, this is Rom 512 by the Swedish black metal band Marduk. Okay, yeah, so this, first of all, this is a great album, an underrated one, and it actually took a while to grow on me, but to get to the question, the guest performer on this album is a man by the name of A.A. Nemthiangna. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, probably not, but he performs guest vocals on the track Accuser, Opposer. So that is a slow black metal track, which has got some doom metal influences, but basically it's the main singer, Mortis, he's doing the raspy black metal vocals, but then this guy, AA, I'll just shorten it to AA, he's from the Irish band, I think, Primordial, and he does these really powerful, clean vocals on that song. So like, it's just so soaring and atmospheric. It feels like a melodic war cry, but it's so powerful and uplifting, it makes you feel like ripping trees from the ground. That's how powerful it is. And then they also interchange the vocals, so Mortis does the raspy vocals and then AA does the clean vocals, but they are just so striking and they stand out. So it's an excellent track anyway, but his guest vocals just make it even better, so absolutely fantastic. And interestingly, this guy AA, he also did some clean vocals as a guest performer on Disaster's album, Satan's Soldiers Syndicate, on the track Tyrannizer, and using those clean vocals in the same way, pretty much, like, to make it just so striking and powerful. So I think he's a sought after clean vocalist for black metal. And that's the funny thing, like with Marduk, they never use clean vocals, but they were doing something different with his guest appearance on that song. Yeah, so that's my answer to question 1. So the guest performer was A.A. Nemthiangna from Primordial on Marduk's Accuser, Opposer. All right, so coming up to question 2. Show me an album from a band's discography where a member is only on that release and then quits or dies or is fired. If you can come up with 2 or 3 or even more one and done members from that same record, even better. So the album I've chosen, this is Dark Funeral's Vobiscum Satanas, so famous Swedish black metal band, one of the most popular in the genre, really. This album is interesting because it was written with lineup changes. So the only original member to appear on this album is Lord Araman. Is that him? Yeah, founding guitarist. So there were actually 3 new members on this album. So first of all, replacing Themgaroth on bass and vocals is Emperor Magus Caligula. This was his first album with the band, and he stayed with them for quite a while. Replacing Black Moon on guitars was Typhos, and replacing Equimanthorn on drums was Alzazmon. So 3 new members on this album. Now, you probably know Emperor Magus Caligula, also known as Massey Bromberg, who was the original vocalist for Hypocrisy. He stayed with the band for quite a long time. So he started on this album and then he had quite a long run with them. But interestingly, these two members, Typhos and Alzazmon, they joined on this album, but then they also left after this album. So two members, one and done for this particular album. They were replaced by Dominion on guitars and Matty Mordin respectively. So 3 new members on this album, and then 2 of them left after 1 album. That's my answer to question 2. So Dark Funeral Verbiscum Satanas is the album in question. Okay. Coming up to question 3. Show me an album with a track that contains vocals not human. So basically an animal as guest vocalist on a record, even if in the background. So I was going to choose Impaled Nazarenes, Tolkompt, Nors, 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 but that's quite a well-known album, so I thought I'd go for something different. So the one I actually ended up choosing was Lucifugum's Instinct Prevalence. So if you're not familiar, Lucifugum are a Ukrainian black metal band. I'm not sure if they're still around, but they actually featured a member from Nocturnal Mortem, Nyaz Vargoth, I think. So maybe it predated Nocturnal Mortem, I'm not sure, but yeah, this is sort of raw and atmospheric Ukrainian black metal. They use some keyboards, but it's got that real Eastern European flavor. But anyway, the track that I've chosen, this consists of 2 demos, so Path of Wolf and Fire of Hatred for Sky. But the track from Path of Wolf that I'm talking about is Wolves, not to be confused with the famous iconic Marduk track. This is a different one. But on this Lucifugum song, Wolves, the intro, it features this really sort of like haunting, eerie synth music, and then these really striking, blood-curdling, blood-freezing howls of wolves in the forest. So it's like a live recording of wolves outside, but every time I hear it, it makes me sort of jump out of my skin because I think, God, that's scary, you know, like, so it's that kind of sound. Imagine if you were lost out in the woods or in nature and then you heard that as nightfall, you would panic and be extremely frightened. So like, that's a really eerie, haunting intro featuring the strong howling of wolves, and the track in question is Wolves. So yeah, that's my answer to that question. So Wolves on Lucifugum's Instinct Prevalence. Okay, coming up to question 4. Show me an album that features an atypical musical instrument for the genre, metal genre. So in other words, no guitar, not guitar or bass or drums or keyboards, and the stranger the instrument, the better. I'm also going to rule out any orchestral instruments if from an orchestral metal band, because that's just cheating. Yeah, I agree. So actually though, the instrument I've chosen, it's not that unusual, but the album I'm referring to, this is Carpathian Forest's Morbid Fascination of Death. So of course, Carpathian Forest, a famous Norwegian black metal band, who I also saw at Steelfest. They were amazing. And the track in question is Cold Comfort. That features a guest appearance from a musician called Motorzen, and he performs saxophone on that track. So Cold Comfort, it's sort of like an eerie, atmospheric track with a lot of pianos, and it makes you feel like you're out in the cold in nature in Norway. But the saxophone just makes it really atmospheric and eerie, and it just goes to show that, yeah, saxophone is not that much of an unusual instrument, but it is unusual for metal, especially black metal, but it really just adds some eeriness to this dark atmosphere. So fantastic track and album, by the way. So that's Motorzen performing saxophone on Carpathian Forest's Cold Comfort from Morbid Fascination of Death. And also, he did a subsequent appearance on their following album, which was Defending the Throne of Evil. He plays saxophone on the track entitled Cold Murderous Music, which is a very eerie, haunting track. So it just goes to show that an unconventional instrument can bring or add extra darkness to this kind of music, black metal. And then if you watched my videos in previous months, you'll also note that battery going there, that the Greek band Medieval Demon, they also started using saxophone on their most recent album, and it works, and maybe that was inspired by Motorzen appearing on these Carpathian Forest albums. So yeah, saxophone on black metal albums, it works. All right, so coming up to question 5, show me an album from a band whose members are from different countries. What is referred to as an international band. Maybe not a different nation for every member, but let's say at least 2 countries total per band, but shoot for more than 2 if you can. So the band in question is one that needs no introduction. I've chosen Cradle of Filth's existence is futile. So everyone probably knows Cradle of Filth, like famous symphonic vampiric British black metal band. Or they were sort of vampiric and gothic and symphonic at the beginning. Their styles evolved a bit, but generally they've retained that overall sound. But yes, they were a band in their early days. What set them apart from other black metal bands was, you know, black metal was exploding out of Scandinavia, but Cradle of Filth were of course English. So, and I think in terms of their style, their presentation, their whole aura, it was very British, or very English more specifically. And that's what set them apart from other bands. But over the years, members have come and gone, you know, as it happens when a band is so long-term. But now it's sort of like an international affair with the lineup. So of course, Danny Filth is the sole original member, so he's English, and maybe there's one or two other guys who are still from England as well. But this also features 2 members from the Czech Republic, or Czechia, as it's now called these days, and I think at least 1 or 2 members from North America as well, like the female singer who does the clean vocals, and one of the musicians. So I'm not going to go into all the details about their names and exactly where they're from, but yeah, basically musicians from 3 different countries here. So England, well, I'm not sure if it's US or Canada, but let's say North America, and then Czech Republic. So 3 particular ones. And then I think they've also had members from Scotland as well. And I know Scotland is part of the UK, but technically England and Scotland are different countries. But yeah, so it's sort of an international affair now. But funnily enough, they've still retained their very English sound, I think. And I think that's because Danny is he doesn't write all the music, of course, but he's sort of the creative brains behind the overall sound, like the overseer. So they've retained that style, but yes, it's a lot more international than it used to be. So that's my answer to this question. 3 different countries or continents with this particular album, Cradle of Filth. Existence is Futile, which is a great album, by the way. It was a great return to form. Okay, next question. Okay, number 6. Show me one of the most unusual albums in your collection. It can be packaging, artwork, vinyl variant, you name it. Definitely have fun with this one. Okay, well, all right, I'm gonna have fun with this. I'm choosing 2 albums, okay? So the first one, this is Lull with Continue. So you can see there's nothing outrageous about this particular cover. It's just gray, but this is very weird and unusual dark ambient. And just bear with me as I read this label because it gives a good description. I can read, but my eyesight's not very good, especially in this light. Lull continues with one 62-minute cavernous soundscape comprised of spacious drifts and dense rumbling drones. Mick Harris of Scorn, Napalm Death and Painkiller continues with his multi-genre musical majesty with the foreboding dark ambience aptly named Continue. Okay, so guys, you might think that it's better with the light on, but I just don't like the glare. That's why I've not had it on for this video. So, I mean, that label pretty much sums it up, but this is very eerie, minimalist, dark ambient. And it's that kind of music where it's very backgroundy. You know, there's not really standout moments, but it sort of builds and builds, and it's really eerie and icy. I remember someone I knew, they overheard me listening to this, and they said this sounds like music from hell. So it's like not like Mortis or something like that. This is very minimalist, but in a cold, eerie way. And it's just so strange. But this 162-minute track, as it builds, it just gets stronger and stronger, but so subtly. So it's just an interesting, eerie, dark ambient album. And also what's weird is, you see the disc here, it's gray. But then with the cover, there's 2 sheets saying Lull Continue. So I don't know if that was a packaging error, but that's just a bit random and weird as well. So yeah, this is one of the weirdest albums musically in my collection. Yeah, Continue. Okay, and since Matt said have fun with this one, I'm going to show a genre of music which I've never shown before on this channel, and some people might be surprised, but in my opinion, good music is good music. You might remember when I responded to Dennis's thread, I said I like selectively some rap and hip hop, and I thought the best rapper, in my opinion, is Kool Keith, who has multiple albums adopting different characters. One of them is Dr. Doom. So I said in that video I'd like to get a copy of this album. I finally did. So this is Dr. Doom with First Come, First Served. So that's Kool Keith on the front. So this is his character for this album. So you can see straight away the packaging is pretty weird. He's got a burger with a rat in it, a gorilla, and then this sort of urban chaos surrounding him. and then that's him on the back there with the DJ for this album, so that's pretty quirky as well. But what this is, it's not conventional rap music. It's not like gangster rap or something. This is what I would describe as dark horror rap. It's really eerie, it's very haunting, and the lyrics are absolutely amazing. They paint vivid pictures in your minds, and he's got that kind of lyrical style where it's just so descriptive. There's so much information packed in there. You're really imagining the story and what his character is on this album. He's a cannibal serial killer, sort of causing mayhem. So the whole album is about the various sort of incidents and adventures he gets into as this kind of urban terrorist. It's really weird, but like I said, it just paints interesting pictures in your mind and tells a really weird story, and it's not conventional rap music. You know how a lot of rap is minimalist or simplistic, and I'm not criticizing that, but it's nothing like gangster rap. The lyrical style is different. The delivery, like I said, it's very dark. So remember, darkness takes on many forms. It's not just in metal music, and it appears in this. So the way I describe it, it's dark horror rap. But then I heard that he was responsible with this album for establishing a subgenre in hip hop known as horrorcore. So a lot of other bands are doing that now, but this was the first. But this is definitely quirky, it's weird. Yeah, one of the weirdest albums in my collection and different to what I normally listen to. So Dr. Doom with First Come, First Serve. All right, so that's it, guys. So I've answered all 6 questions there, and hope you enjoyed my responses. So once again, thanks again, Matt, for coming up with this thread, and congratulations on 5,000 subscribers, very well deserved. So I will leave a link in the description for Matt's channel if you haven't checked it out, the Accusation Network. And I hope you guys continue to watch this channel too. So I will be back again soon with a collection update, and that'll be happening in the very near future. But in the meantime, take care. Bye for now.